NVIDIA's on fire with $18 billion of revenue in the last quarter from selling GPUs. So let's talk about if they're going to be able to keep doing this, the GPU pours, and what this means for developers. To start with, GPUs are a specialized type of chip that's been optimized for large amounts of parallel operations, which is perfect for models like GPT-4 and other large language models that take a lot of parallel operations. NVIDIA has rose with the popularity of GPUs. This next year, it's going to triple its production with 4 million GPUs it's going to produce. Now, everybody wants these GPUs that they're producing. A small amount of companies, the GPU rich, will have huge farms of these GPUs. You're talking 20,000, 50,000 plus of these that are going to be used for training large language models. But most of these GPUs, most of the overall workload is for the inference or the prediction side working with these large language models. Building a GPU is a complex process. It usually takes at least 4 years to go from chip design to final production. There's a lot of factors like memory capacity, compute, bandwidth, all that you have to trade off when you design a GPU. And right now, if we look at the manufacturing capacity, NVIDIA holds about 50%, Google holds 30%. The other 20%, everybody's fighting for. Folks like Amazon, Microsoft, anybody that's building their own GPU chip, and they often have higher costs in that smaller amount. If we look at the early competitors to NVIDIA, folks like GraphCore, they made a bet on on-chip memory with less off-chip memory that was suited for smaller models. Samanova, Cerebras, they focused on high-chip memory, no off-chip memory, while NVIDIA focused on memory bandwidth and external memory capacity, which allowed them to work with really large models, which is why NVIDIA won. Now, there's lots of people still going after NVIDIA. We'll see Intel and AMD will bring very competitive hardware, although they have a higher manufacturing cost. There's also questions how well the software works for these chips to actually be able to use these to run large language models. Meantime, NVIDIA is going to keep powering ahead. They've already released their H200 model. Now, one consequence that comes out of this that I got from Dylan Patel, who writes Semi-Analysis, where I got a lot of these insights, is with this flood of GPUs, we're going to be able to have cheap inference for very large models. So he feels like what developers should focus on is using these large models. Spending time fine-tuning these models in the long run isn't worth it because we're going to be able to keep that cost of inference down.